Hey guys, Top Deck here. You guys saw the title of the video, the thumbnail, and everything. Jing Liu is a character that I'm really excited for, and we just recently learned that her kit basically got reworked for the better, actually. Last time I did one of these videos, it was discussing Kafka and all the nerfs she got, which, funny enough, kind of amounted to nothing because Kafka's still really strong, but these Jing Liu buffs are, as the title suggests, massive, game breaking, if you will. Like, they are really pushing Jing Liu. Remember when we saw the changes that Imbibitor Lune got? This makes it seem like that was nothing. The Jing Liu changes are they are crazy. I am hoping that they don't revert anything here, because if this gets into the game, then oh baby, we have a character on our hands. They are really leaning into the fact that she has white hair and red eyes, so she has to be the strongest. Really bad. Really bad. And I'm here for it. I don't care. I am absolutely here for it. I need Jing Liu in my life. I'm definitely going to roll for her. I was going to roll for her regardless, but with these changes, they just solidify that fact. And you guys are going to see the changes, and I'm going to talk about them shortly. I'm just really excited because, damn, that character that I like is going to be even better than I thought they were. And in a game like this where we saw Blade got nerfed around 3 to 5 times, people were doom posting, and Blade came out and he was the strongest. He still is really good, and well, we have Blade now. And people were doom posting with Jing Liu saying, oh, her damage is pretty weak outside of the Memory of Chaos stuff. And well, you can't really make that case anymore. So let's start talking about Jing Liu. I did a little chart sort of thing, kind of like a slideshow explaining, hey, what actually happened with Jing Liu. And as you see here, right, it's just small bullet points that like outline what actually got changed. So let's actually like go down from the top to the bottom. So let's talk about her base kit, right? Like her base stats. Her HP went from 1398 to 1436. Her defense went from 388 to 485. So that's pretty good, right? Just her being a destruction character, having more HP, more defense. She's more tanky, she's more resilient, you know. All that stuff is good. But her speed decreased by 4. And you're probably looking at the speed decrease and being like, damn, that's trash. Going from 100 to 4, losing 4 speed, it is significant, right? Because speed is really important. Speed tuning is very important. And for a character like Jing Liu that wants to constantly use her skill and be fast and zoom, it's like, damn, that sucks. But don't let that deter you, right? That 4 speed, you don't even have to think about it. Let's continue, because I'm going to show you why, right? Like, these changes are changes. These changes are like something you would find in like a random MOBA, or like these feel like fighting game patches. Like a new season rolled out, you're like sole bad guy is like best character in the game. It's so funny looking at these changes. It's like, who thought of this? Like who why, right? I mean, I don't want to complain, but damn, that's crazy. I never would have thought of that, but okay. Alright, sure. Let's move on to her talent now. So, her talent now has a 100% action advancement, which, when I'm referring to her talent, I'm referring to her, like, special state that she enters, which they call the spectral transmigration state. It was called what? Transcendence before. I'm just gonna call it Transcendence, or her like install or special state, whatever, because that name is too long. Or I could just say like her STS state, sure. But point is, right, she has the action advancement now. She no longer gains a full turn, so her skill is more like blades now. So the whole Bronya stuff that you would be able to do before is not really applicable now. uh of course, it's like it is a DPS loss, I will say that, but like it's still Bronya. Like at worst, all this means is that you don't have to run Bronya with her. You can have Bronya on another team for Memory of Chaos, right? But it does function like how Blade functions, where you just keep going and going and going. But the choice is really up to you in that regard. But the most massive change of Jing Liu is still in her talent, which is when she's in her transcendent state, she now has 50% crit rate. She just gains 50% crit rate while she's in that state. 50%. 50% is massive. It is an understatement to say massive. It is a ludicrous amount to have for a character, and the way that you can look at the changes as we're going through it is she's basically just a better version of little sword boy, like what's his name? Damn, I call him Little Sword Boy. Me and my friends call him Little Sword Boy. Yan King, right? Yan Qing, right? She's just a direct upgrade to him, and she really focuses on that. Like the 50% now means a lot for building her. Like this changes how we were going to build her and how she is going to be built going forward. Because if she gets 50% crit rate just by being in her state, that means you are going to have to start dumping pretty much everything you have into crit damage, and I mean everything. You're going to have to like swap out some stuff. All those crit rate chest pieces you were building, those gotta go. You're gonna have to get that crit damage chest piece, and if with speed, attack, and crit rate, that is what you're gonna want to need. And oh buddy, I'm here for it. It sucks, but I'm definitely here for it. I'll get to like talking about the builds and stuff in a bit, but like damn, 50% is nothing to scoff at. It is revolutionary to her kit. 50% just like that for going into her state. Oh, it's so crazy, man. Then the HP drain went from 6 to 4%, but it's more of a continuous thing now. So every time she uses her skill, she drains the 4%, but she can only do it like what, twice or thrice. So it's like your team will most likely lose 8%, 12% HP. But if you're running Locha, or if you have Fushuan with her like cone attached to her, it doesn't really matter. Which is like a real funny part about her kit that they left unchanged is in fact this part. So it's like, oh, okay, well, they don't really care about the HP drain. It is so minuscule in comparison to everything else about her kit, and that's just a real funny thing that I found. But next is the increases that she got. The attack increase that she got from draining your allies' HP and converting it into her own attack went from 275% all the way up to 540%. Holy Christ. Holy Christ, 540%. Oh, wow. Those are numbers. Those are numbers. I remember looking at Yukong's ult damage and thinking to myself, damn, 321% on an ult is insane, right? But looking at this increase, whoa, what are we doing here? What are we doing? We're just pointing at a board and saying, sure, let's go. Numbers. I can't be mad by this. This is great. It's just fantastic. And then the cap for the attack increase went up by 60%. So it went from 120 to 180 now. And man, that's still like really strong. It's really good, and it's blatantly overpowered. Like, she feels overpowered, right? Feeling as in, like, from the way that her stats looks and everything else. She just, on paper, sounds really strong. Then when you're in the skill, when you're in the state, right, when you're in Transcendence, her skill damage also got increased from 240 plus 120, which is like the initial and the splash. It went up from 240 to 120 to 250 to 125. So it's like overall you're just getting much more bang for your buck. It's just more and more damage, which it's destruction character. I don't know what to tell you. We just deal a lot of damage with destruction characters. They're just too good. They're just literally too good. Then if we go down to the last part, which I'm going to talk about her traces real quick. The traces is where the big changes, like one of the big changes, where her crit rate change, where she would have like extra 12%. So before, how we would have to have mapped out building her is we got the 12% from the traces, then a crit rate body piece, which is like 32.4, and then the 8% from the set, and then you have to get the pieces, but to make the 70. But now they changed that crit rate to crit damage, and it's 37%. It is 37% extra crit damage. You heard me. 37% extra crit damage. That number is crazy. 37%? What are they thinking? That's so massive. Holy crap. 37%. Oh, that it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. And then for the next change is they swapped the ice damage bonus, which was like 12.8%, and they changed it to speed, which is really interesting because it's 9% extra speed that she's going to be getting. And we know that they lowered her speed from 100 to 96, and giving her 9 extra speed on her trace is like, oh, okay, that's real interesting, and that's good. Like, there's nothing real wrong or bad to say about this change. Yeah, the ice damage bonus would have been nice because in conjunction with the spear, that's still more damage, but like losing the 12% is a DPS loss. But if we're gonna look back at the rest of her kit, it's like that 12% is looking quite minuscule in the grand scheme of things, to be honest with you. And I personally would take the speed increase. Like, the fact that they gave us free speed, it's, first of all, that's rare in itself, right? And the 9% is nothing to scoff at, because we're going to be running speed boots with her anyways. Unless we're doing attack boots. Are we doing attack boots with her? Oh, I gotta think about that. Because if we're doing, like, attack boots, then we got a speed form. Oh, all right, let's listen. Let's just forget about that. Let's actually continue, right? Next, let's talk about her eidolons and what changed with her eidolons, right? Her E1, it used to have a crit rate increase of 12%, right? It was an extra 12% on top of that. They swapped it to 24% crit damage, right? Which is pretty sweet. More crit damage, why not, right? Keep on stacking that crit damage. Holy crap, it's crazy that it's so funny to see all this crit damage from just her kit alone. Even at E0, she's still really strong. At E1, the extra crit damage does matter. Like, if we're really looking at this, all this crit damage definitely matters. Then at E2, she went from 60% increase to a 80% damage increase. Now, this is on her Transcendence state, which I am gonna like read over the like full paragraphs in a second. But like in her Transcendence state, she now deals 80% extra damage, and it's like, oh damn. But that's only for the use of her enhanced skill, and that's after her ult, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna read it in a second. But for her final change on her 4th Eidolon, she has an attack increase from the HP drain that went from 10 to 90%, and 10 to 90% is nothing to scoff at. Plus, the attack increase from the cap went up to 30%. So, what do we have here, right? What do we have here from the bullet points that I just listed? We have an incredibly strong and solid character that can fit into basically any team comp once built correctly, right? But let's go look at what do we know from her, right? Let's just look at her, scroll down real quick, right? And let's look at her talent real quick, right? So the talent was the one that was really changed, right? So she now has 2 stacks of her passive, right? I'm not gonna say that word. I know what it is and I know how to say it. I just don't want to say it. Now, before, remember, she would have to like have the 5 stacks and then she'll enter Transcendence. So they changed it to now being she only needs 2 stacks of, now she only needs the 2 stacks in order to enter Transcendence, which is pretty cool. That means you only need to like use her skill twice or use her technique once and then her skill once, and there you go. Or her ultimate and whatever. She only needs 2 to enter it. So they are aware that like the 50% crit rate increase is what you really want to achieve, and you always want to be in that state. So I'm glad that they made it so that her doing everything outside of basic attacking lets you enter in the state, right? Which is what you really want to be in at all times. So when Jing Liu has 2 stacks, right, she then enters Transcendence, and her action gets advanced by 100% and increases her crit rate by 50%. Jing Liu then gains and can only use the following skill, which is Moon on Glacial River, which is her enhanced skill, right? And when Jing Liu uses an attack in her Transcendent state, she consumes HP from all other allies equal to 4% of their respective max HP, right? Then Jing Liu attack will then increase based on 540% of the total HP consumed from all allies in this instance, capped at 180% of her base attack until the current attack ends. I like that like stipulation to end until the current attack ends, right? That it's a nice stipulation. It does kind of suck because when you think about it, it's like if it said until the turn end, that means you could have used her skill and ult and blah 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 blah, but it's only until the current attack, which I'm pretty sure her ult will count because the sentence earlier says whenever Jing Liu uses an attack, right? So it should apply to her ultimate, right? But her skill can stack up to 3 times, which is her stacks, right? It can stack up to 3 times, which is pretty cool. And when her stacks become 0, Jing Liu will enter her Transcendent state, which is what we know about that. Okay, so her talent got a huge rework, all in all, right? And it's for the better. Like, these changes are plainly for the better. If we look at the bonus abilities that she would have gotten, right? When she's in her special state, the damage to her ult increases by 20%. Then, after using Transcendent Flash, the next action will be advanced by 10%. What is Transcendent Flash? It is her regular default skill when she's not in this state. So every time you use that skill, your next action will be advanced by 10%. Pretty cool. As long as she wants to go and continuously use her turn. That is what she wants. Then, while in the special state, her effect res increases by 35%. Pretty sweet. You don't want to get CC'd by her. So, Frost Wraith, Sword Champion, Death Realm, all really good. They're all really good. Then we see the stat bonuses that she is going to get, right? The whole crit rate damage, 37.3, which is what we know. We know what we know and love. The speed is 9%, HP is 10%. Point is, damn, that's really good. That's cool. She's going to be great. Then we're going to look at her Eidolons lastly, which is when using her ultimate or enhanced skill, Jing Liu's crit damage will increase by 24% for one turn. Right? Crit damage, 24%, one turn. Pretty nice. Of course, this then sentence then talks about, you know, if it only deals damage to a single target, all the like side damage then deals ice damage to what those targets would have taken to that single target. So she just essentially nukes them at Eidolon 1. Then at Eidolon 2, after using her ultimate, it increases the damage of the next enhanced skill by 80%. So you can still use her basic attack after you use her ultimate. Let's say you don't have enough for, I don't know, whatever reason. You can ult, and then you can save that 80% because it only works for the next enhanced skill. Then for her E4, when she's in her special state, right, the attack obtained from consuming all allies' HP is additionally increased by 90% of the total HP that has been consumed from the entire team. The cap for the attack increased. The attack increased this way by 30%. So what that means is she just goes up from 180 to 210%. All in all, Jing Liu just deals a lot more damage. She deals so much more damage now. And honestly, I can't think of a better character to have these kind of changes to. Of course, I am being really biased right now because I do like Jing Liu a lot, right? I am going to come on and say I am a huge Jing Liu fan, and these changes are something to die for. They are really, really good. And let's go back to the slideshow real quick. I want to talk about like my actual closing thoughts about her and a small rant towards the end. Essentially, yeah, she's like a 15 out of 10 now. Like these changes are so fantastic. They are groundbreaking, and I can't say how much I love them. But yeah, these are like actually insane buffs that will make her the best overall unit in the game. You want to side DPS, she's your character. You want to hyper carry, she's your character. You just want to mess around and just, I don't know, deal damage, she's your character, right? Just from looking at her kit and the calcs that I've been thinking about, yeah, she's going to be, you know, much better than the current imaginary hyper carry that just came out. I don't want to throw too much shade, but he needs how many skill points to do what she can do in much less? It's not looking too good for him. I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking too good for him. And her kit favors an overall damage increase with the 50% crit rate and everything else just stacking, and she leans towards crit and crit damage. It's not looking good for him, right? It makes me feel a little bit bad for those that invested in him when Jing Liu is now this good. But there is a downside to her, as I pointed out here, because there is no energy change to her. Her energy cap is still 140, so you still are going to be running the energy regen rope on her, right? Now she's really reliant on using her ultimate. So getting that ult up is gonna suck without that rope. A comparison would be comparing her to QQ, because they have the same energy cap of 140, and that's the only comparison I can make, because that's where the similarities end. But yeah, like if you know how QQ is and you use her without that ER rope, you know that it's gonna take a bit for her to gain her ult. So Jing Liu will need the energy regen rope. So keep that in mind when farming for her relics. Her light cone. I will also talk about her light cone. Her light cone actually got changed. Now that I'm talking about it, I was going to talk about why her light cone was like pretty optional. I remember before the light cone was like 30% crit damage and 12% energy regen, but clearly it's not that anymore. Now what it does, it increases the crit damage by 20%, but when an ally gets attacked or loses their HP, right, the wearer gains 1 stack of Eclipse up to a max of 3 stacks, and each stack of Eclipse will increase the damage of the wearer's next attack by 14%, which is what, like 36%. When 3 stacks are maxed out, an additional attack will be delivered that ignores 12% of the enemy's defense. This effect will be dispelled after the wearer delivers their attack. So her light cone just gives her more damage and a free attack, essentially, that ignores defense. So, wow, would you look at that? Crazy, even more damage for her. The crit damage, I think, sucks. It went down from 10%, but the overall damage increase, damn, that's pretty solid. I will definitely take that instead. Have been nice to have that energy regen, but I get it. I understand. Sure, I get it. If you are looking for a ice character, of course, Jing Liu is going to be that character. But I strongly feel in my heart of hearts that Jing Liu is going to be the next top DPS for a while. Because if we're looking at what we think the upcoming characters are going to be, you know, the characters that came to me in a dream, you know, it was prophesized somewhere on top of a mountain that the next upcoming characters aren't going to be DPS characters, and they aren't going to be as strong as her until I don't know, maybe Sam comes out and they like buff Sam to be Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, considering, well, it's Sam, a Stellar Run Hunter, and if Blade got nerfed 5 times, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do something to Sam, considering their playstyles are a bit similar. But that's not the point of that. But yeah, Jing Liu is really, really strong. And for those of you that were doom posting or simply not really sure whether you should roll for her or not, now you have your answer. You should roll for Jing Liu. This is no longer an option. Roll for Jing Liu. I am telling you to roll for Jing Liu. She is really, 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 really good. Really good. And I will be doing everything in my power to get her as well, as should you. This has been your public PSA on why Jing Liu matters. And I hope that changed your mind. And I hope this video changed your mind. I'm really excited for Jing Liu. I really want to use her. First time I saw her, I was like, damn, I need her. I need her and Kafka. Now I know how her kit works. Her and Blade are going to be the best of friends, even though they try to kill each other all the time in the story. Well, Blade has some type of PTSD, but, you know, he'll probably figure it out at some point. But anyways, this has been just Top Deck here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I did. I have fun with this. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.